Hey, I'm Pastor Jerry Rittenhouse, pastor here at Coastal Christian Church. I've been here for 20 years, been a pastor about 44 years. Never have we been through something like what we've been through. So about 3 o'clock in the morning on May 3rd of this year, I received a couple phone calls.
Is without a church after an early morning fire damaged its sanctuary and surrounding buildings. Dunedin Fire Rescue says thankfully no one was hurt, but there's a big mess left behind to clean up.
Ladders, 13, 14 fire trucks, firemen in and out of the building, breaking doors open, and pretty much flooded the place, turned it into a water park, but they did put out the fire. And that put us in a situation we've never been in before. I'm not a person that's easily overwhelmed, but the details will drown you with all that would happen. I wasn't really ready for the flood that the water was used to put out. Did not match the flood of people who came immediately to try to get us to sign papers and agree to contracts, things that we didn't even know what to do with that. Rachel, a very calm and steady force in the mix of all of this chaos, explained to us what we were facing with all of the people that were inundating us, to get us to agree to things that we didn't even know what we were facing.
On the day of the fire, I was notified by my office of the loss and see what I could do to help. And when I arrived on scene, it was complete chaos. And I wanted to speak with the pastor or any member of the church to just try to help them recognize what was happening and to make sure they were aware of their policy and how the policy dictates how their insurance claim will go. And I actually was able to identify some large concerns they had with musical equipment and different items in their church. You know, when everybody's on scene, there's a lot of people giving advice, and there's things that can happen that could be to the detriment of the documentation of your policy or an insurance claim.
So we were very grateful that she showed up and helped us to navigate and put a little pause on what was going on. You know, your first response is, let's hurry up and get all this back and heal it as quickly as possible. And you really need an advocate to help you to know how to do that, because otherwise you miss out on resources that are available to you, and you make agreements with people who don't have your best interest at mind. And so we were very appreciative of having that advocate in their company.
This is the perfect reason why you bring Altieri in from the beginning. We customize a plan of recovery for you regardless of your circumstances. And then from there, the adjustment process works to a very satisfactory conclusion where you have the money, you have the time, and you have the freedom to do the work you need to do.
Obviously, when a church goes through something like this, a fire, you lose occupancy. And we don't sell a product, we offer a service. Worship services, groups meet in our building, we have a preschool, we have a thrift shop. And while church is not a business, it is a family, there is a business side to it. And the business side of this, that the revenue of that was given to us through our worship services, through our thrift shop, through our preschool, was all going to be dried up because we were all wet. They're not free, they're going to take a percentage, but we were delighted with the percentage they offered us. And also, they uncovered within our policy areas of income that we would have missed. And in fact, they basically paid for themselves by finding areas of our insurance policy that they would have totally skipped out on, giving us those incomes. And so they didn't cost us anything. The way I look at it now as I'm looking back at it. We're not all the way done. We probably have about one more month before we get to have our building back. But we did get back in here incrementally, using their services, finding the right people, and getting insurance companies to agree with you to take steps that would help to turn those revenue faucets back on. The preschool, we were able to get them back up and in the building with occupancy within 14 days, which is a miracle. Another month would pass and we would get our thrift shop, which is a great source of fuel for what we do, back up and operating. Unfortunately, the sanctuary where the fire happened, people say, that person's life is a dumpster fire. Well, I will never use that term again, because it was a dumpster fire that, put us in this situation that got up in our soffit and then burned much of our sanctuary roof. But even being displaced from our sanctuary, Altieri was able to help us. We were able to rent a place immediately next door to our church, and we have been in there for some months. And so we were able to get our congregation back together, get that family thing going again. And the funds that were in our policy were able to be uncovered and used in order to even cover all of that rent, there's a lot of expenses that go when you are transitioning, and still are expenses. But I will say that what they did for us gave us double what we need to get back to life. And so if you're in a situation where you're wondering, we'll just do this ourselves, don't do it yourself, because you're going to miss out on resources that would be available to you if you used a professional like this company. We highly recommend them, and hope that you will at least listen to what they have to say. I hope you don't have a crisis. I hope that none of this would happen to you. But if it were to be something that would fall into your path, you would be smart to step into the situation with a group like Altieri. We highly recommend them.
So this claim was a perfect example of why we should be brought in from the beginning, to understand your coverage, understand the options that you have, customize that recovery plan based on your needs, and ultimately have a successful claim settlement. Altieri is the partner the property owner can rely on.